Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Maybe you remember that Ukrainian forces were able to sink a few Russian warships in the Black Sea, and they used Harpoon missiles, and possibly they used some of their own. In this case, this article talks about the Ukrainians who used the Harpoon missiles, and they sunk one warship, Russian warship, and allegedly, not allegedly, actually, the American military comes out and says, yeah, we trained them, and that's why they were able to sink that Russian warship, or whatever it was, Russian warship, yeah. So this article comes from Ukrainska Pravda from September 7th, 2022. Ukrainian forces that sunk Russian warship were trained by U.S., Pentagon reports. Bill LaPlante, U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, said that Ukrainian forces that sank the Russian Vasily Bek warship with Harpoon anti-ship missiles in June received training from the U.S. Alright, the source is European Pravda, quoting Bill LaPlante at a defense news conference on September 7th. Details: LaPlante said that Ukrainian forces were trained to operate Harpoon anti-ship missiles over Memorial Day weekend in late May. Several weeks later, the Ukrainians used Harpoon missiles to sink Vasily Bek, the Russian tugboat. Well, I do not know how to operate a Harpoon anti-ship missiles, and I don't know if you can be trained over Memorial Day weekend. I personally doubt it, but I have no evidence. The only evidence that I have, information that would make me be skeptical about it, and I'm not trying to put the Harpoon missiles systems on the same level with HIMARS. I don't know if they are or not. I have no idea. But I listened to a retired colonel, U.S. Colonel Douglas McGregor, who was talking about the HIMARS, and he said about the HIMARS that actually you can't train the Ukrainian in 3 days or 4 days to operate a HIMARS. He said only the driver of a HIMARS has to I think work about 1100 moves before he programs the missiles to go and something like that. He said it has to be contractors operating the HIMARS in Ukraine, not the Ukrainians operating, because he said the training you can't do it overnight. Now I don't know how the Harpoon works, okay, so I don't know if would require the same kind of training, extensive training, or maybe if you use some Russians one, you can use these ones, even though I don't think so, because they are basically it's like learning a different system, like probably software in a computer. No, it's just different buttons for different things. It means different. The location is different, and if you want to be accurate and fast, you can't learn in a Memorial Day weekend. I do not believe that those guys were trained in 3 or 4 days. I don't think so. I mean, if that's so, that means a child can learn in about a month. I would exaggerate, really. But as I said, I do not know. I'm just skeptical based on what McGregor said about the HIMARS. And it says here that the missiles that struck the Russian ship were given to Ukraine by a U.S. ally. Now, on the other hand, you need to have coordinates. How do you get your coordinates? You have to be in connection with some, you know what I mean? And the United States already said that they provide a target with coordinates, and they put the coordinates in the system. This is what McGregor said, and the Russians, about HIMARS. That's why he said these are not operated by Ukrainians. It's all done by Americans, contracted for this, because you have to communicate with that and this and that. It's not that easy. McGregor said, not me. So call him and argue with him, okay? If he lies, then yeah, it is what it is, right? So it says that the Russian ship were given, so the missiles were given to Ukraine by a US ally. LaPlante did not identify. He explained that the ship-based missile launchers were removed from the allies' ship and modified to be fired from a flatbed truck. There's incredible innovation going on right now and we just don't talk about it enough, LaPlante said. He added that Ukrainian forces had since sunk another Russian warship with the Harpoons. He did not specify the ship's actual name. The announcement that Ukraine's Western partners will supply it with Harpoon anti-ship missiles came in spring. The Pentagon announced Harpoon coastal defense systems were part of a $1 billion aid package for Ukraine announced in June. Several days later, the Ukrainian Navy forces struck a Russian naval tugboat, Vasily Bek, armed with a Tor anti-aircraft missile system with 2 Harpoon missiles in the Black Sea. The ship was transporting Russian military personnel and weapons to the Snake Islands. The ship had later sunk. Okay, well, I don't think as again Colonel McGregor said, the Russians know this. He said the only thing is how long before they're gonna do something to us based on this kind of information, because it's these guys, if they say it, that means the Russians already know it, and I already said it. Actually, the Russians, Shoigu came, and then Igor, I can't remember his name, the spokesperson for the military, he came and said it the same. We know this is what's going on. The Americans are in control. The Americans are planning. McGregor said that actually it's the NATO generals personnel who is actually planning the war in Ukraine. That is the general staff of Ukraine, not Ukrainian generals and blah blah blah, according to McGregor. Now I have no problem believing that. I would say believe it 95%. I believe 5%. I say, well, maybe not. Maybe not that involved, but I'm 99.9% certain that they are involved with information, with orders, with statistics, with anything that needs to be done. And probably they discuss with the Ukrainians and tell the Ukrainians, hey, buddy, this is what you need to do. This is the information we got. Do whatever you want, but we suggest you should do this. That's what I think it works. But I have no evidence to support that, obviously, because I'm not there in the room with them. So now these guys come and say that. I don't know, how would you consider that? How, if you were Russia, let's say, ignore the unprovoked and all that. You're Russia. Russia is your country, and you are for Russia. And let's say you are, I'm not going to go into details, doesn't matter. Imagine that you have an enemy, and then the enemy destroys your military or ship, and you find out it's another country who actually trains these guys, and with their support they destroyed your people and how would you feel? How would you categorize that country, the third party who helped these guys, without which these guys would have never destroyed your forces? How would you say that those guys are? Just a third party, just some people watching the game, or you would say they need to be smacked or punched in the face? I think the second option would be available for most people. That would be the normal reaction. Imagine you fight with someone and someone comes and gives your enemy water, and he gives him, hey, Emil is kind of weak over there, kick him on this, do that. Hey, no, stop. No, I mean, what are you? Are you his trainer? If you're his trainer, you're in his team. So then, excuse me, but I have to smack you too, or something. Obviously, it's not going to happen between Russia and America, United States. They communicate and they take care of stuff. But accidents happen, and who knows? We'll find out, I guess. So, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.